Hi and welcome back to Library of Books and Daydreams. So it's Beth here again with another video, and another video where she is copying what Alex is doing because Alex is always a massive inspiration, so is Faye. And I basically have been watching Alex's videos and loving it, so I am today doing the mid-year freakout tag. I think I have done this on my blog in past years, and actually I want to do this on my blog this year as well, so we'll probably do a written version of this tag, but today I am here with the video version, so let's get started. So the first question is the best book you have read so far in 2020. This was a really difficult question for me to answer because there's probably a few up there which are very tied at the moment for top spot, but I had to go with The Lido by Libby Page. This book is so amazing. I really loved it. I don't read a lot of adult fiction or adult contemporaries, but when I heard this was about open water swimming, because I really like outdoor swimming myself, and actually a customer in the bookshop I work in recommended it to me, so I picked it up I think a few days after she recommended it. I'd heard about it before and wanted to read it, but she cemented the fact that I wanted to read this book, and it is one of the most heartwarming, beautiful piece of writing I've ever read. Question 2 is the best sequel you have read so far in 2020. I can safely say that this is Crown of Midnight. I am really enjoying the series, but so me and Alex are now on the penultimate book. As I'm filming this video, we have just started Tower of Dawn, but I don't think that any book in the series is going to beat Crown of Midnight for me. I absolutely loved Crown of Midnight. I think it might be something to do with the fact that it's set in a library for most of it. It's just so beautiful and I really enjoyed it, so this one hands down best sequel so far of the year. The next question is a new release that you really want to read but you haven't yet, and that is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leigh Johnson. I am so excited for this book. I really want to read it. I picked it up the other day and it sounds so good, so I'm really excited to have my copy here, and I cannot wait to read this one, hopefully sometime soon. So the next one is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that one is probably, as Alex said, Loveless by Alice Oseman. I am really excited for some of the books that are coming out in the second half of the year. As Alex also said, I am so excited for Lauren James's new book in September, Jennifer Niven's new book, Breathless, anything by Cassandra Clare that is coming out. I still haven't got my own or read Ghost of the Shadow Market because that only just came out in paperback in the UK here the other day, so that is on the list. Honestly, there are so many books that I have on pre-order, but Loveless I am so excited for. I literally just got my copy and I cannot wait to read this book, and I'm sure Alex and Faye are with me on that one. So the next question is, what was your biggest disappointment? Because it was my biggest disappointment, I no longer have a copy of it, so hopefully the cover will appear here at this time. But my biggest disappointment was Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. Still makes me sad thinking about this book. I absolutely love Adam Silvera's work and I was so excited for him to take a step into fantasy. I really wanted to get an arc of Infinity Sun last year at Yalk and I didn't, and then when I started working at the bookshop that I work in, they had an arc of Infinity Sun and I was so excited to be able to get it. But I read it, I think it was the first book I read in 2020. I really didn't enjoy it. I think I gave it 2 stars. It was probably one of my lowest rated books of the year so far. So I'm really sorry, Adam Silvera, but that was definitely my biggest disappointment of the year so far, and I don't think I will be carrying on with the series, unfortunately. On to a more positive note, what was my biggest surprise of the year, and that has to be Rules for Being a Girl. When I saw this art copy, we had 2 come into work, and I was addressed to me for some reason, even though I hadn't requested it. I took it home and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. It's fairly short, it doesn't really sound something I would enjoy, but it's also really pretty, and I ended up reading it in almost one sitting. This book is amazing. It's so much more important and hard-hitting than I expected. It's less fluffy than I expected. It's just absolutely amazing. Really, I think all girls should read this book and realise the importance of the goings-on that are in this. Honestly, this was one of my favourite books of the year. It's a massive contender for the top spot that the Lido just picked into the post, but honestly this book, I really loved it, so that was my biggest surprise. My favourite new author of the year so far has to also be Libby Page, who wrote the Lido. I also have her book, The 24-Hour Cafe. My mum is reading it right now because she read the Lido after me and she also loved it, so she is reading The 24-Hour Cafe before I have even got to it. I am so excited to read her other book because I love this one so much, and I think definitely this is a move towards adult fiction for me. I also have The Flat Share on my TBR, which my mom read and really liked, and as I saw in Alex's video, she really enjoyed it too, so she actually, The Flat Share was her answer to this question, so yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and Libby Page is definitely a new favourite author for me. So the next question is the book that made you cry, and this is We Are Okay by Nina Lacour. This was a big contender for some of the other questions, especially best book of the year so far, because I absolutely adore Nina Lacour's work. I was so excited to read this book and it was amazing. So yes, Faye, you need to read it by the end of the year. But I have to say, like, this book is just, it's so beautiful, but I knew it would make me cry, and it definitely made me cry. Really, if you haven't read Nina Lacour's work, go and check her out. She is amazing. The next question is a book that made you happy, and I think all day, every day, Heartstopper. This is the third book in the Heartstopper series, and I absolutely adore this. This is a graphic novel series by Alice Oseman, and really you should go and check this series out if you haven't already. It is all available for free online on Tapas and Tumblr, and the published copies are coming out around once a year, I think. At the moment there is going to be 5 of them, but hopefully more, we shall see. But yeah, Heartstopper will always make me happy. It is the soft and fluffy contemporary that I need, and I think I can get through one of them in about half an hour to an hour, so if I'm ever feeling down, pick up Heartstopper. So the next question is your favourite book to movie adaptation you have seen this year. I'm trying to think of, I saw Little Women a lot of times. I saw it about 4 or 5 times in cinema, but I actually haven't read it, so I feel like I can't count that on this list. So I have to go for The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So me and my boyfriend Mark watched this last week or the week before, and we both really enjoyed the movie. This is such an important book, and seeing it come to life in movie form was really amazing. It's a really good adaptation in general. I read this one last year, and I'm glad I left it around a year and a couple months before I watched the movie adaptation, but really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend you go and watch The Hate You Give if you haven't already, and definitely read it. I know it is available on a lot of streaming services in America right now for free. I think it is on Netflix over there, and over here it is on Now TV, so that is where me and Mark watched it, so go and give it a watch. The next question is your favourite review that you have written this year. I find this one really hard to answer because it is very rare that I will remember a review I wrote and think that was amazing, and I did really well. I think one of my favourite reviews after looking back on a lot of them was my review for Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. It was a big surprise for me actually, because I tried to read it last year and I couldn't get into the writing style, but I read it again this year and I absolutely adored it. So I think, yeah, my favourite review, which I will link down below, or one of my favourite reviews so far this year, is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. And the penultimate question is the most beautiful book you have bought or received so far this year. I am going to have to join Alex on this one and go with The Court of Miracles. There is so many I could have chosen, but this book is beautiful. Like, I could not leave this in the shop. This is, I can't even describe to you how shiny this is. I am on the same page as Alex, as I wouldn't usually read something like this. I am not one for historical fiction in any way, but it sounds really interesting. I also have this undercover edition, which is so pretty. Honestly, the level of detail that is in this is incredible. So definitely this is one of the most beautiful books, if not the most beautiful, that I have bought or received so far this year. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There are so many. I would love to read so many books on these shelves in the rest of the year, but the one I am going to promise right now I will read this series by the end of the year, and you can hold me to it, is the Grisha Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So I have read all of her other books apart from the Grisha Trilogy, so I promise you I will read it this year. So that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed, comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this. Faye's video will be here on Friday and I'll see you next week guys. Bye!